Yes.
You want to talk about Becky's book today?
Yeah, let's talk about The Man, Becky Lynch. I love this book. I'm reading it now. I'm about 40, 50 pages in. I love it, but I knew I would love it because I've had the good fortune to have read it along the way. So in 2021, Becky was sending me one chapter at a time via email. And then about a year and a half ago, I got a manuscript. I mean, I like working with a manuscript better. It's easier for me to take notes that way. Also easy for me to play a game of Hangman on an airplane trip. That's White Mountain Santa Robert Weatherall would be the correct answer. But along the way, I would just make little notes. And I think that there were two different times Becky and I had like 5-6 hour conversations on the phone. And I would just offer little suggestions. But my main, I think my biggest role in being one of Becky's pre-readers was to convince her that she definitely had a voice. Like, she didn't think it was good. And I was like, no, this is really good. You have a voice. I pointed out all the reasons why it was good. And so when it came down to like the notes, I said, Becky, most of them are the exact same thing. It's dialogue attribution, which an editor would probably catch anyway. It just makes it easier for the reader to know who's talking when. So here Becky is talking about going out to dinner with sponsors in Japan, and my suggestion was explain more and how it's unique to Japan, and maybe include the Yakuza, who often were the sponsors and who are more or less the Japanese mafia. Here I just said explain, add perspective. Let me see what other tweaks I made. Maybe even more of a build-up. She's talking about her credibility as a wrestler. I said, if so, explain what TNA is. This again goes back to dialogue attribution. I just want it to be when someone hasn't spoken for a while, I think you need to identify the person. A former WWE wrestler named Joe, and I said, is this the Joe? Is this just Joe? Put over experience so the compliment means more. So that way, I mean, a former WWE wrestler named Joe, to me, he would be a former WWE wrestler named Joe, a respected veteran who unfortunately was saddled with a lame gimmick when he entered WWE. So that way, you're building him up so that his compliment means more because you have built him up so that it does mean more. And so we just had these long conversations, maybe identify the person earlier. So little things that I picked up along the way. And one other thing I told her up front, I said, these are suggestions. Like, you can take them or leave them. And then I gave her 2 examples. I said, Chris Jericho used almost every suggestion I gave him, whereas my good friend Dee Snider, he took very little of what I said. But that's what they're there for. So it's helpful to have another set of eyes, 3 or 4 sets of eyes. But when you're asked to be that pre-reader, it's a great accolade. I really expect this book to do very well. So this is The Man, and I give it my highest recommendation, one of the best memoirs I've ever read. 2 giant Commissioner Foley thumbs up. Yeah.